Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of today. I'm your host, Sheriafa Mohammed, MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. Russian armed forces executed high-intensity combined operations across multiple fronts. A group strike employing long-range precision weapons, including Kinzhal hypersonic missiles and UAVs, targeted Ukraine's military-industrial enterprises and airbases, achieving all objectives. In parallel, ground troop groups inflicted substantial personnel and material losses on Ukrainian armed forces, while consolidating tactical gains in Donetsk and elsewhere.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Ogontoy, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Colonel Oguntoye, the latest reports from August 28th mention hypersonic missile strikes and even naval action. Could you begin by walking us through the major developments of the day?
Yes. The most significant opening move was a coordinated strike last night by Russian forces using long-range precision systems. This included Kinzhal hypersonic missiles, supported by strike UAVs, aimed at Ukraine's military-industrial enterprises and airbases. All designated targets were struck successfully. The intent here was clear: to degrade Ukraine's ability to sustain the war effort by disrupting both its production capacity and its operational aviation assets. In parallel with these deep strikes, ground forces across 6 operational groupings executed sustained engagements. These actions inflicted heavy casualties on Ukrainian brigades, destroyed equipment, and continued the pattern of eliminating ammunition and supply depots. On the ground, the balance remains one of steady attrition combined with positional advances. Notably, the South Group liberated Nelepovka in the Donetsk People's Republic, while the Center Group inflicted some of the heaviest losses of the day.
Let's break down the northern and western sectors first. What happened there, and why does it matter?
In the north, Russian units engaged mechanized, airborne, and assault formations in the Sumy region, including at settlements like Golubovka, Pavlovka, and Unikovka. Additional strikes hit Ukrainian brigades and border detachments in Kharkiv around Volchansk and Ambarno. Ukrainian losses there exceeded 180 men, alongside armored vehicles and depots. The western axis, stretching through Kupiansk and into parts of the Donetsk People's Republic, produced even higher losses, around 235 troops, along with multiple armored vehicles and electronic warfare stations destroyed. This is important because Kupiansk remains a logistical hub for Ukrainian forces. By pressuring that area, Russia is not only inflicting casualties but also making it harder for Kiev to stage supplies and reinforcements into the wider Kharkiv-Donetsk corridor.
You mentioned Nelepovka being liberated in Donetsk. Could you explain the significance of that advance?
Nelepovka's liberation is part of a broader southern push. The South Group fought Ukrainian mechanized, airmobile, and mountain assault brigades in the vicinity of Seversk and Konstantinovka. Beyond the 200 casualties inflicted, the capture of Nelepovka creates tactical depth for future operations along the Donetsk front. These gains are incremental but meaningful. When you link Nelepovka with advances further west and north, you see a picture of Ukrainian defenses being steadily peeled back. Each liberated settlement forces Kiev to either commit reserves it can scarcely afford or allow the Russians to consolidate staging areas for larger offensives.
The Center Group seems to have delivered the hardest blow. Can you expand on their actions?
The Center Group engaged multiple Ukrainian brigades, including mechanized, ranger, airborne assault, and National Guard units, around settlements like Krasnoarmysk, Dmitrov, and Rodinsko. Their operations caused over 400 casualties in one day, an extraordinary attritional blow. The destruction of a German Leopard tank is noteworthy not only tactically but symbolically, as it underscores the attrition of NATO-supplied heavy armor. Every Leopard or Western system lost has strategic weight because these are not easily replaced in sufficient numbers. This highlights how Russia's attritional approach steadily wears down not only Ukraine's manpower but also its Western-supported equipment base.
What about the Eastern and Dnipro axes? How do those fit into the day's operations?
In the east, forces pushed into Dnipropetrovsk and Zaporizhzhia regions. At Voronezh and Levadno, over 200 Ukrainian troops were lost, alongside artillery, including a U.S.-supplied M198 howitzer. In the Dnipro axis, Russian troops struck areas like Novoandreevka and Antonovka, eliminating another 55 personnel and destroying a U.S.-made HMMWV, 5 artillery guns, and critically, 8 Ukrainian electronic warfare stations and a counter-battery radar. These numbers may appear smaller compared to the central or northern battles, but their operational weight is disproportionate. Neutralizing counter-battery radar reduces Ukraine's ability to contest Russian artillery dominance, while eliminating EW systems makes drone and missile operations more effective. This accelerates the cycle of Russian pressure.
One of the headlines today was the sinking of a Ukrainian reconnaissance ship. Can you explain how that occurred?
Yes. At the mouth of the Danube River, Russian forces employed a high-speed unmanned surface vessel to strike and sink the Ukrainian Navy's medium reconnaissance ship Simferopol. This is significant for 2 reasons. First, it reduces Ukraine's naval intelligence capacity. Second, it demonstrates Russia's increasing integration of unmanned maritime systems. This represents a widening of the battle space. We are not just seeing attrition on land and in the air, but now, unmanned naval warfare is directly targeting Ukrainian vessels. The Black Sea and Danube approaches will become more hazardous for Ukraine as these systems proliferate.
Finally, can you tell us about the role of Russian air and missile defense today?
Air defenses intercepted a Ukrainian Su-27 fighter, 2 guided bombs, 2 HIMARS rockets, and nearly 200 drones. This layered defense underscores Russia's continued ability to blunt Ukrainian long-range strikes. It reinforces the asymmetry. Russia can strike deep with hypersonics and drones, while Ukraine increasingly struggles to penetrate Russia's air defense shield.
Colonel, looking at all of this together, the strikes, the liberation of territory, the naval action, what's your overall assessment of August 28th?
August 28th represents both escalation and consolidation. Escalation, because Russia employed Kinzhal hypersonic missiles and unmanned naval platforms, showing the expanding toolkit of precision systems. Consolidation, because territorial gains in Donetsk, attrition in Kharkiv and Sumy, and depot strikes across all fronts collectively erode Ukraine's operational coherence. What we see is Russia combining deep strikes with frontline attrition to stretch Ukrainian defenses beyond their capacity. By degrading depots, EW systems, radar, and naval reconnaissance assets, Russia is dismantling Ukraine's ability to fight a coordinated war. The implication is that the balance continues to tip, preparing conditions for more decisive moves later this year.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. The August 28th operations highlight Russia's integration of hypersonic precision strikes, unmanned naval warfare, and systematic attrition across all ground axes. Ukraine suffered over 1,300 casualties in one day, lost a Leopard tank, an American howitzer, multiple EW assets, and even a naval reconnaissance ship. These losses not only weaken tactical resilience but also erode strategic depth. The combination of attrition and technological escalation signals a widening of the war's dimensions, air, land, and sea, leaving Ukraine increasingly overstretched. For NATO, the destruction of Western-supplied systems underscores the limits of replenishment, reinforcing Russia's strategic narrative of inevitable attritional dominance.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive frontline updates from commanders in theater.